Hi everyone, it's John back with another review. I had the chance earlier today to finish up and put the sort of finishing touches on a review that I started yesterday, the first perfume review I'd written in probably 6 weeks, busy at work and life stuff. So I wanted to share that review with you because I was just really taken with it. You can probably tell what perfume it is from the name of the video, but I'll show you my sample of it in the sample card. So there you go. You see it's from the house of Aether Arts Perfumes. Art in Air, that's sort of the byline of the house. The perfumer is Amber Jobin. And there's my little sample right there, which I've been using sparingly because there's so little of it, but it's such good stuff. Oh my goodness, it's such good stuff. I can't wait to tell you about it. So, Ginger Rose is, like I said, it's from the house of Aether Arts Perfumes, which is run by Amber Jobin, who I've actually spoken with a number of times on Facebook. Very generous with her time, very knowledgeable, and a fellow classical music lover, which is always wonderful. Not many of us out there, it seems. Amber's done some really amazing work in the past that's gotten some recognition in the greater perfume community. She was a finalist this year. I should say one of her perfumes was a finalist this year in 2016's Art and Olfaction Awards. It's was the perfume named Love for Three Oranges, which is takes its name after the Prokofiev opera. And 2 years ago, she won for a perfume called John From. So, about Ginger Rose. The top notes of Ginger Rose consist of aldehydes, pink pepper, bergamot, and ginger. And you have middle notes of Bulgarian rose, white rose, jasmine, ylang ylang, heliotrope, and carnation. And you have base notes of tonka bean, benzoin, amber, orris, olibanum, myrrh, sandalwood, beeswax, and indole. This scent could be classified as an aldehydic floriantal. That's what Amber calls it on her Etsy site. And she also did me the great kindness of sort of printing out page-long descriptions of inspirations, like the kinds of things she did for research about each perfume. And that's her description of Ginger Rose, an aldehydic floriantal. Amber works exclusively in oils, so this is not going to be an alcohol base. It's not an EDP or an EDT or a traditional extrait. And as far as synthetics and naturals go, this is about 2/3 natural materials and 1/3 synthetic. So as far as how it smells, Ginger Rose is just really beautiful. It opens up with this really quick fading bergamot. It's really gone in a flash on my skin. But then it follows up with this spicy ginger note, which is sort of undergirded by pink pepper. And I think pink pepper is just the perfect choice because naturally it complements the spiciness that's already inherent in ginger. But there's also a floral note that you get with pink pepper and with ginger. So the floral notes work together. The spiciness works together. It's just a marriage made in heaven. Ginger is really one of my favorite top notes used in perfumery, and it so rarely gets sort of a pedestal all of its own, or even with one other ingredient like rose. The pepper complements the citrusy floral sharpness of the ginger, and in the heart of the fragrance, as you move into the heart, you can smell the combination of the two roses. They give you sort of this well, I mean, it's more complex than just a sort of a single note rose. So layering it makes it really great. But there's also the addition of the orris, which lends this really powderiness to it. It's a light powder. It's not grandma powder. And there's also this slight lipstick note. My favorite kinds of iris and orris butters have that lipstick note. So I was really, really glad to smell that too. I don't really get any jasmine on my skin, but it might be just there to give some of the others, and this is me and my very, very, very amateur newbie Lightfoot perfumer in the making, but speaking. But I think the jasmine might just be there for the indolic effect to sort of lift the orris and the rose. Sometimes rose and jasmine, which are my two favorite florals of all time, can really blend into one another seamlessly, and here they obviously do that. As you go into the Drydown of ginger rose, you get this creaminess from the natural beeswax mixed with tonka for sweetness and indols for that sort of animalic note. Never fecal, at least not to me, but it is slightly animalic in the base. Like I said, Amber calls this an aldehydic floriantal. I don't really get a lot of aldehydes on my skin, or it could just be that my skin really tamps them down. But there is a little bit of champagne-like effervescence at the very top. This was actually the first perfume in Amber's Vintage series. The Vintage series is a line of perfumes created by Amber meant to evoke or at least this one was, meant to evoke the great perfumes of the 1940s and 1950s, and especially, perhaps, the great movie stars associated with the 1940s and 50s. And it's really weird because even before I knew that it was meant to evoke a certain time, the first thing that came to my mind when I smelled the top and the heart of the fragrance was Guerlain. It just hit me because the sweetness, the floral, the powderiness, the animalic base, everything about it said the greatest Guerlains to me. Specifically, Nehema Extrait. It has that sort of spicy rose note with the animalic bit, and then the sweetness of Shalimar's Drydown, that sort of dusty vanilla thing going on. There's no vanilla that I can detect in Ginger Rose, but the overall sort of silhouette of the fragrance is very reminiscent of that sort of guirlandade that everyone loves so much. I love so much, at least. On her Etsy site, Amber writes this, quote, I thought about movie stars from the era, the 40s and 50s, and what they might have worn. I also smelled many vintage examples from the period before creating this fragrance, homage to another era. And it really sounds like she's done her research. Obviously, if Guerlain is the first thing that comes to your mind, and Nehema and Shalimar are two fragrances that sort of immediately popped to mind when I smelled it. She knows how to take an idea and really, really communicate it in an olfactory way with this sort of preternatural talent, which is really impressive. It puts me in awe. James Dean or Marlene Dietrich, I think, would have been wise to toss their much vaunted Knisa Sign or Knisa 10 and opt for a bottle of this instead. Ginger Rose is loaded with some of my all-time favorite notes in perfumery: ginger, rose, obviously, orris, jasmine, beeswax. There's a little bit of sandalwood in there in the base with that beautiful animalic Drydown that I love so much. However, in an opinion that I'm trying to keep as objective as possible, I really do think this is a success in pretty much every way I can think of. There's something really about it that conjures the likes of a Jean Harlow or maybe a Lauren Bacall. But at the end of the day, I think this would be beautiful on a man too. I think it would be perfectly unisex. And as if things couldn't be any better, Ginger Rose comes in a 45% concentration. 45%. So that's much more concentrated than even a lot of extrays are offered in. Extrays are sometimes only 25 to 30% pure oils, fragrance oils. This is 45. So this is much, much stronger than possibly you've ever been able to put on your skin before, unless you were a perfumer yourself. I think the higher concentration really sort of elongates the body of the perfume. For me, it elongates the heart and a little bit of the base too. And it just, so there is this misconception that stronger perfumes, i.e. perfumes with higher concentrations of essential oils, last longer. And that's not necessarily true. What just happens is when you build a construction at 45% and at 10%, sometimes they'll both last for 6 hours, but the way they evolve on your skin is so much more different. And this is built in such a way that it highlights the facets of the perfume that I think might be lost at a lower concentration. And a lot of people are not going to want to offer perfume in a 45% concentration because they'll say that's too expensive. It has rose and orris and jasmine in it. If anyone has ever tried to buy rose or jasmine or orris products for perfumery, you'll know that they are not inexpensive. And to know and to make the perfume in the way that it's going to smell the best on someone's skin and not be chintzy with the concentration is really, I think, the sign of someone who knows how to wear perfume best, who knows how to construct it well, and who's being completely honest with you about how it should be worn. After all, she would know best. The wonderful thing about this is the Drydown. I love that sort of animalic thing going on. Long after the rose and orris are gone, you get that sort of waxy, beeswaxy creaminess. Just divine. It's really the perfect end to a lovely olfactory creation. So, that's my review of this perfume right here. Ginger Rose by the house of Aether Arts Perfume. And the perfumer is Amber Jobin. Go visit her Etsy site. It will be linked below. She has a lot of other things to check out too. Award-winning stuff over there. But this is just the first one I happened to sample the other day, and it just really impressed me. Bye guys. See you later.